My name's Adam Monaco and I'm the Financial Controller for Hi-Tec Oils. With our national capacity, we can now service Australian companies nationwide. Of late, we have now expanded into the New Zealand market. Here at Hi-Tec Oils, we receive premium base oils and premium additive packs. Together, with our highly trained staff, we manufacture over 500 premium quality products. Hi-Tec Oils is Australian made and Australian owned.
On today's show, we head to Sydney Motorsport Park, where it's action central for everything 2 and 4 wheels. First up, we head to the Figure 8 Drift Circuit for a brand new season of the Hi-Tec Drift Allstars Series. Then we jump across to the Gardner Grand Prix Circuit for round 2 of the Swan Super Series. This is Speedweek.
Welcome to Sydney Motorsport Park on the Figure 8 circuit for round 1 of the Hi-Tec Oils Drift All-Stars. Now standing next to me, Scott Shembry, familiar name from the Hi-Tec Oils series. I mean, front runner, absolute gun on the podium a lot of times, but going to be taking a role in the judges box with us. Tell us how this has come about, Scott.
Oh mate, you know, drifting's consumed my life for the last 8 years pretty much. It was just time to have a little break, build my new car, and obviously we're here to have some fun this year. We want to turn it around, we want to see some action. Obviously this year we're trying to push the drivers really hard to get really aggressive and push hard in those chase runs. It's just all about aggression. It's going to be better for the show at the end of the day. All the drivers have the skill to do it. You know, I just told them at the start of the night to put all that thing in the back of the head that tells you no, and just yes. Thanks to Famous Insurance obviously coming on board for the Pro Am series. We've got Achilles tyres back on board, Hi-Tec batteries, Hi-Tec oils, JSI Aero, the list keeps going on and on and on. I'm here with Dan Mackey, the head judge, the man himself. Going to go through us all the changes happened in 2017. So Dan, what's going on?
Yeah, g'day Scott, good to have you on board with us this year, mate. It's going to be fun, I can tell that for sure. Just listening to driver's briefing was unreal. Mate, the key changes this year round is we're going to try and maximise the amount of track time, get things flowing. So first and foremost what we've done is we've taken some of the Irish drifting scene stuff and we're going to run what they call an OMR instead of an OMT, or one more run instead of one more time. So what that's about is making sure that the guys go out there, they have their first battle as they normally would. Then normally if we couldn't split them in the judging box, we'd ask them to go one more time and then we'd try and make a decision on that. They'd get an opportunity then to change tyres if we still couldn't split them and send them again for one last sudden death battle. This time round, we're giving them one more pass, just one more pass, not a full battle. And the way that's going to work is that whoever qualified higher, they're going to get to choose whether or not they lead or chase. One set of tyres, 3 passes maximum, in, out, bang, keep it moving. In the past, we've made it about drifting and the spirit of drifting and allowing people to have multiple 5-minute rules. This time round we're going, it's one 5-minute rule, that's it. You get it, you use it. If you use it in your top 24, you don't get another one. Light contact, we're encouraging a little bit of light contact. If it's just light and it's only once, we're not going to make any deductions at all. So we can get them up on door, we can get them banging away there and having some fun, which should be really good.
That's what we want to hear, contact.
Well, if it is continuous though, they're going to start seeing deductions. We want them to knock on the door and let them know they're there and get right up and close. But if they go right in real tight and keep tapping away or make a big hit and that makes the lead driver have to correct, then there's going to be deductions there, mate. So they're probably the key ones.
Here we are with the show himself, Bo Yates, champion last year. Mate, obviously you have that target on your back this year. We always know you push hard, you're always there in the qualifying. Any really changes to the car, or it's going to do the same as last year, mate?
Well, you know, like always, probably not the most flamboyant driver out there, but, you know, consistency is a key for me. And obviously this year with Toyota Genuine Parts coming on board, you know, probably not too worried about the facade of the car anymore with parts on tap. So obviously we're going to push hard this year and try and retain that title.
The bridesmaids last year, Brad Toohey. I know he doesn't want to hear it, but we know he's going to be pushing hard this year. Mate, you deserved it last year. It should have been your win. You pushed hard all year. Unfortunately, had a bit of drama in the last round. That's drifting. But what are you going to do this year, mate?
Do what I did last year, but obviously not have the same issue I had at the last round. Definitely not the way I wanted to end the championship, but it definitely stung a little, I won't lie. Not so much losing the championship, just the way I lost it, I guess. I think the car has what it takes. I think the results last year definitely showed that. I think I'm ready to do it again this year.
We're behind the wheel now and obviously hungry for the podium, opening up our qualifying highlights in third place, Scott.
Yeah, seasoned veteran 2 years, all the way out to this clip, as he does regularly. Good to see him back up there on that third place podium.
Now, someone who hasn't had as many laps as Tui around here is Rosenblatt, down from Queensland and killing it for his second time here.
Yeah, they call him the Chase King, and he's doing really well out there on this track that he's hardly driven, as you can see, coming through this clip. Nice quick transition back.
Will we see Rosenblatt chasing down the guy on top of the qualifying order tonight? Bo the show. Yates, he just does it time and time again.
Turning a page in the book, and it's going to be exactly the same thing you read on the last page. He does it time and time again. Killer run here, you can see, out wide to that clip, up that last section to that last throw is where Bo just does it perfectly every time.
So we saw your top three on screen, followed by that Rob Arbolino, Warwick Hill, Michael Bonney, Aaron Dewar and Daniel Christic rounding out the top 8 who will be getting priority positions in the battles.
Here we have Rob Arbolino, the bonnet man up himself. Very aggressive last year at the end of the year, and I know he's fighting for this championship this year, mate. What's going to happen?
Well, I don't know if I can match the action we had at the last round. Just leave the pins out again and try and redo it. But I've got no stories this year. I've spent a year in the car. I'm starting to feel more and more comfortable every event I do. So we're not going for second or third best. We're going for the guy at the top. And unfortunately, it's Bo. He's a mate of ours, but when we're out on the track, it's war. That's it.
Here is James Abbott, the 2014 Hi-Tec Drift Allstars champion, also my Blaze Unit teammate. Not going to be here by your side this year, mate, racing, but you're going to hold it down for the Blaze Unit team. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, this is a bit different talking to you face to face. Not having you here is a bit upsetting, but I'll carry it for the team. It's not the first time I've carried the team.
Oh, here we go. Relax. No, so car's all good. You're feeling good. You want to push some doors around, obviously, the track. That's what we do best. Put down a show for the crowd, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. Like getting the car out ready for this event, there's not much prep went into it. It's just come off the track from the last round, so hoping I can get it through tonight. And yeah, that's what I want to do, is really just get aggressive, do some good battles, and then maybe G me up to actually get the car running a bit better for round 2.
Speaking about battles, we're into the top 24 highlights now. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the sport of drifting, the way this works is everybody qualifies and gets put into an order across a battle tree. This is our 24 drivers now, each battling it out for then successively a spot in the top 8 and then battling for the podium right at the end of it. Here we've got Brock Stevenson against an interstate visitor.
Yeah, that's right, Dave. Mo El Houli in the lead run here. As you can see, he drops the wheel. Not really what the judges want, but Brock's obviously having a lot of dramas behind him, as you can see in the chase here too. Brock's still having those dramas where he's, sounds like he's down a bit of power there, Dave, but Mo's car behind him just absolutely cooking those tyres.
There's a bit of a battle of V8s there, and now another V8 powered car in cold chasing down Mitch Sanders with that fresh engine package under the bonnet. Big turbo 2JZ.
Mitch has done a lot of work to that car in the off season, and as you can hear, he's got a little bit of the legs running out in that car, so he's going to have to do a diff swap before round 2. Mitch Cole, one of the young up-and-comers.
Yeah, early last year you kind of saw the car was wallowing around a little bit, but Mitch has really dialed in that S13 this time round, and that's what puts him through into the top 8 anyway.
Yeah, 100%. His confidence is growing, Dave, and it's really showing out in the track, and I can't see what he sees that does it round 2.
Mitch Sanders just that little bit wide there, hanging off limiter as well. Some sort of gear swap needing to happen. Now into Josh Kelly, battling in a freshly built car here, ready to go up against Finney O'Hare, who had a few mechanical issues on the night.
Yeah, the throttle got stuck open then, as you could hear by the car just revving freely, and Finney was having problems all night, Dave. It's a freshly built car, and he's going to iron out those problems and be fired up for the next round. Just having problems, misfiring, not really what the judges want to see there.
Even without mechanical difficulty though, I'm sure Josh Kelly would have got through to the battles, and now in his first round of the season, straight up against the veteran Bo Yates, and this is what our battle tree looks like. So top 16, whoever wins in there ends up in top 8, and then finally battling it out for the podium. War is about to unfold amongst that top 16 battle tree. A lot of cars getting revamped for this season. We've got drivers from Queensland, from Victoria, some interstate battles going on. But first out on the field now is Daniel Christic up against Benny Mears. So that bright orange RX-7 out the front. Big turbo triple or quad rotor, I believe, under there. In the back, Benny Mears, V8 power under the bonnet of that S14 Sylvia. Look at the difference in power delivery between these two cars as Christic has a bit of a drop down off boost in the middle. How hard would it be having two so different cars, Scott?
Yeah, no, totally different cars out on the track there. A fair few mistakes in his lead run, getting out to the rear clip there, but yeah, having a few straight end up through that lead run. Judges aren't going to be happy with what he did there.
Struggling a little bit, trying to keep it on power. Hitachi bringing us the replay now. You see a couple of clutch kicks there as the car wallows back onto its rear suspension, trying to get ready, but just can't keep it up on boost. I get a feeling that RX-7 wants to stretch its legs on a bigger circuit, and because of that, is struggling. Let's see how he goes in the chase, though, Scott.
Yeah, Benny Mears taking the lead here. Nice, good entry, a bit in off that rear clip, but the judges score really hardly on that. Nice quick switch back through here. Benny does well. Oh, Christic with the mistake. Bit of a straighten up there behind Benny Mears. Judges are going to score him down on that one. Benny doing a good lead run here. Drops a small wheel drop. Judges aren't going to score him down too much about that one.
Couple of drops, couple of speed stalls. So really it's going to be the battle of mistakes here, Shembry, where the judges have to see who made fewer mistakes and therefore deserves a spot moving forward.
Yeah, 100%, Dave. Christic's there and thereabouts, but he's a little bit messy behind Benny. Benny put in a pretty good, decent, nice and clean lead run here. Gets out to this rear clip, drops the wheel ever so slightly. Judges aren't going to score him down too much for that, but yeah, Christic obviously pushing hard, but I think that car's just a little bit too over-gripped for this track, Dave.
Yeah, so decision made, and that is Benny Mears through to the top 8. Now another engine swapped car with Warwick Hill out in the lead, Toyota JZ under the bonnet of that thing. Greg Merriman chasing in a more traditional Sylvia with the 4-cylinder turbo under the bonnet. Warwick Hill putting a clear lead over Greg Merriman there, and that's a name you're going to be hearing a lot of tonight. Warwick Hill driving both in the famous Insurance Pro Am Series and also up here with the big boys, doing a killer job.
From the get-go, Merriman is back off Warwick Hill, does a fast entry, quick switch back here, but just wasn't being able to clean, reel him in for the rest of the track, Dave. I don't know something going on with Merriman's car, but Warwick Hill just got the speed and pulls away from him there.
Yeah, cooked along that bottom straight. Now let's see if, as the positions are switched, if there is still such a large difference in speed. Merriman, big handbrake drag there on the entry. Judges aren't going to like that one.
Nah, not at all. That's one thing they said in drivers briefing that they don't want to see is a big handbrake entry, which slows all your speed down. Oh, nearly into a spin there. It's going to be interesting to see what the judges call on that one. Did Merriman slow Warwick down and put him in the spin, or was it all just Warwick Hill himself?
Yeah, it's one of those hard situations where you really do have to follow what the driver in front of you is doing, and if they end up, speed stalling in the middle of the corner when you're right there on their door, you don't have much of a choice except to spin there. Let's have a look at the Hitachi replay, check it out.
Merriman throws on the big angle, got that wide stab behind him, which helps him, but yeah, a lot of angle. I don't know, it could go any way there.
Yeah, cameras make it a bit easier than it does for the judges' eyes, but judges siding with Warwick Hill, getting him through there into the later battles. Now a real battle of the big boys here. Rob Arbolino in that twin-turbo V8 Hi-Tec Allstars 350Z up against Mitch Jeffrey, who all through last year had a killer chase technique, throwing down on door.
Yeah, Rob hungry for the lead lap here. Out wide, cooking those Achilles tyres off the 350Z rims.
Riding on board with Jeffrey now really gives you an idea of what it's like to try and drive through the smoke screen billowing out the back of the 350Z. How's the replay here? Diving in and getting as close as he can with very little vision.
Yeah, it's a pretty even run there. Rob's doing everything right in the lead run, but Jeffrey's right there in the chase, not giving him an inch.
Judges tipping the advantage towards Rob Arbolino, but the positions will switch, and it's going to be time now to see what Mitch Jeffrey can do out in front. Riding on board with Rob now. He will be the chase car. Up onto the front straight. Let's see how they throw it. Oh, seems to be held up a little bit by Mitch Jeffrey there. Big difference in the power level of these cars. That angry turbo V8 under the bonnet would be a weapon to drive.
Oh, mistake there from Rob. Unfortunately, really aggressive on that chase in that lead corner and just putting him off on that second corner switchback and unfortunately dropping a wheel.
Yeah, when you're driving a car as quick as that, you can come rocketing in just that little bit quicker than you think. And I think that's what happened there as we go to the replay. You're on board with Rob and boom, straight on the foot brake to avoid that contact with Mitch Jeffrey.
That's it, Dave. I've done it 100 times. I know what it's like. You come around that corner, holding your foot down, just trying to cook those tyres and get on that door. And next thing you know, there's no track left and you're in the dirt, mate.
And while it's a sport all about aggression, apparently, unfortunately, just that little bit too much saw Mitch Jeffrey get through in top of Rob Arbolino. Isn't that the definition of a race car? What a cabin.
Yeah, Aaron Duar, killer car, killer setup. Putting down a nice clean lead lap here as we go through the switchback. Let's see what he can do.
Thing I love about Duar's car is that he ripped all that EFI stuff off a late model LS, banged a big dirty carby on the top that you can see hanging out the bonnet. What a legend, up against Sean Gilbert in that SR20 powered KE70. So turbo 4-cylinder in that little green machine, trying to keep up with that big boy V8.
Yeah, don't take anything away from Sean. Unfortunately, he couldn't really reel in that gap that Aaron pulled on him, and Aaron comes up to this first corner, throws a massive entry into this last corner. Big smoke out of that V8. Really, really good, and Sean, yeah, just there but not thereabouts.
Look at the gear knob. Actually, I think that's the handbrake, the big old spanner with a sequential gearbox in there as well. This thing means business.
Yeah, 100%, Dave. It's a well set up car. Only weighs about 1,000 kilos too. Ooh. Gilbert put on a good lead lap. No! Duar's around.
I'd still count that as a spin despite the amount of lock Duar's car had, allowing him to flick it back the other way. Giving Sean Gilbert a lead run now, unopposed. Bit of a wheel drop though, so it's going to be a difficult one for the judges to weigh up.
Yeah, a few mistakes there in the lead and chase from both drivers, so be interesting to see what the judges call that one. Oh, it's Gilbert through.
Hitachi replay showing us this is the moment that Aaron Duar unfortunately just got pushed a little bit hard there on aggression, so I think that middle section is going to be one to watch tonight. Guys going in hard. Mitchell Cole up against Brad Toohey now, who came second in the championship last year, has a couple of trophies at home on the wall, but we know he's going for the top spot tonight. Twin supercharged V8 under the bonnet of that 8.6 that rolled off the production line practically as a bare shell, up against Mitchell Cole in the V8 powered S13.
Yeah, one of the young up-and-comers, Dave, coming through the sport. Unfortunately, Brad Toohey pulling away from him there in that lead run, but Mitch really did nothing wrong in the chase.
He's really developed a lot as a driver, Mitch Cole. I mean, I was saying earlier that you saw the car roll around a little bit last year, but it's really cornering flat now, and event after event, Mitch has been dialing up his speed, so he's going to be one to watch throughout the series, but unfortunately just drew one of our top competitors that early part of the battle, and that's how the qualifying tree goes.
Yeah, no, I've got my money on Mitchie as being one of the guys to put a few upsets hopefully this year in the competition. Putting down a killer lead run here against Brad, not doing really anything wrong, and Brad's there, but Mitchie, you know, good on him for pushing it to Brad.
Nice bit of angle and taking that wide line through there, riding on board in the smoke room that is Brad Toohey's H6, and how close is that for the chase across the finish?
Yeah, well done to Brad there. At the end of the track, just showing him why he's one of the seasoned veterans and why he is really pushing for that top spot tonight.
He really knows how to drive, and the judges recognise that skill, giving him the nod, and Brad Toohey is now through to the next round. Mitchell Cole, unfortunately, on the trailer, but will be back next round to show us what he's got in that V8 powered S13. Here's one of your boys on track now, eh?
Yeah, me boy Jabs, the 2J S15. Ahead of him, Michael Bonney, all the way from Victoria in another 2J S15, running about 700 horsepower, sequential gearbox, nice, all the trimmings, Y-Fab. Jabs there with the TDP, Jericho 4-speed gearbox, 2J on about nearly 700 horsepower as well, so it's going to be a nice close battle, Dave.
The level of car just keeps going up and up year after year. Now we've got some crazy Victorians up here. We saw a turbo LS before, and now 3.4 litre or something 2J. That is wild race car stuff. Blazing tyres on Sydney Motorsport Park's Figure 8 circuit. Riding on board with Jabs now.
Jabs right on him on that first corner, exactly what the judge want to see. Getting a bit lost there in the smoke.
Pretty difficult to see on the chase run there. Try and position the car. I mean, what's your tip when you're sitting in a bit of a smoke screen? How do you do it?
Mate, you just close your eyes and hope for the best.
Oh, bold words. And I hope that's what's going on now. Michael Bonney coming in hot behind Jabs here through the middle section. Lots of lock there and packing the speed on. Was that contact?
I think he was just a little bit off. And he's made a mistake. Bonney behind Jab. He was really pushing it to him there.
Yeah, possibly falling down off boost or something like that. But Jabs also nailing that outside line through the top sweeper there. No advantage in the first battle, but let's see from the Hitachi replay if the judges are going to be able to split them.
That mistake is what put Jabba through and Bonney back home in the trailer. Good to see him down here, and I heard he's going to be with us at round 2 again, so he's not going nowhere.
Yeah, long tow back to Victoria, but we really appreciate the boys coming up here. Now, an interesting battle as well. Bo Yates, veteran of the sport, been drifting since there was drifting in Australia in this crazy JZ-powered Toyota 86. But chasing him, making his competition debut, is Josh Kelly. This freshly built car. Saw a couple of the boys getting this thing together in the days leading up to the event, and Josh has been absolutely killing it throughout practice. How's he doing in the battle, Scott?
Yeah, young JK. Bo obviously did that lead run that he's always going to do, but he can't take anything from JK. It's his first real competition, and he's got one of the hardest guys to compete against on the track, and he take nothing away from JK there. It's all building confidence for him as a driver, and see what he can do in the lead run.
Man, that car of Bo's sounds absolutely nuts. And looking in the earlier battle, JK did manage to close the gaps up a little bit, so he's out in front now in that SR20 powered S13 with Bo chasing behind. It is a pretty close chase, but we have seen Bo get closer. Is he possibly surprised a little bit by the speed of the young gun?
Yeah, that could be it, Dave, or he could just be giving him a little bit of a gap. Who knows with Bowie, but yeah, don't take anything from JK here. He runs a little bit wide here. Obviously, the judges scored him down on that. Bo's there, does everything right in the chase run, but JK's going to be one to watch out for the future, Dave.
Yeah, good to get that battle experience in strong up against Bo Yates, treating that battle a bit like a spreadsheet and getting through exactly where he needs to be. So that's your top 8 up on screen now. Bo getting a spot up against Benny Meir. Mitchell Jeffrey up against Warwick Hill, Brad Toohey and James Abbott, and then Michael Rosenblatt against Sean Gilbert, and I like the way this ladder's shaping up. After the break, the famous Insurance Pro Am Series before we go to the top 8 of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars.
We are here with the 2 girls of the series, Millie and Erin. Their first competition. How are you guys feeling?
Yeah, very excited to beat the boys. Packing it. Yeah.
Packing it. That's what we want to see. How the car's going, guys? I know you've done a few changes. Obviously, Erin, you were out last weekend at North Circuit practicing. How'd the car go?
Started off good. Steering rack gave out. Got it changed within the day, so got back out there and flipped some good runs. So yeah, it was all up and running.
Perfect. Millie, I know you've been doing a lot of practice days lately. How are you feeling?
Yeah, not too bad. Actually blew turbo last week, so had to change that last minute and see how that goes.
Let's get into it. See them out there with a couple of other new faces for the famous Insurance Pro Am Series. Warwick Hill bridging both of these, driving as a pro tonight, but also in the Pro Am. And this is really where skill's going to get developed, and we're going to see the pros of the future.
I can't wait to see what these Pro Am drivers bring up to the series. It's really good and encouraging for young up-and-comers that want to get into drifting to come along, have a go and build up and grab, get that confidence to get down and throw down with the pros, hopefully maybe next season or season after that. So,
unfortunately, Warwick there having a few rear tyre pressure issues, forcing a D-beat early and then another D-beat here that will put him into the pits under his 5-minute rule. A couple of issues there, but just to reiterate that, this is a series that anybody can get into and have a drive, get out there and really get familiar with your car. Another battle now in a car you're familiar with, Scott.
Yeah, Tim Schultz there against Erin, who we just met in the interview before. I was driving Schultz's car the last round of last year, got it second place against both. A real set-up car. Unfortunately, had a power steering issue in that battle, which put him off the track.
Here's a name that's actually decided to step down into the Pro-Am, Glenn Ormerod. I think he's going to be a name to watch tonight because he has really, really killed it earlier on there. Millie out with a few mechanical issues though.
Matt Walters in the LS ITB R33 with Josh Shuttleworth here in the XR6 Barra-powered Ute. Josh is pretty confident on this track. He's done a lot of laps and he can show it out in this lead run.
Unfortunately, a swim there for Walters. Getting Shuttleworth through up against Glenn Ormerod. Warwick Hill up against Tim Schultz. Schultz in that brown S13. For the very first time now, the famous Insurance Pro-Am Top 4. This is a series that's feeding into the pros, so these guys we might see on the podium one day, but tonight someone will take out that Pro-Am title. Glenn Ormerod out in the lead there in the rotary-powered Corolla up against Josh Shuttleworth in that XR6 Turbo Ute.
Joshy, we've been trying to help him out behind the scenes, set up that car a little bit, give him some pointers on his driving, get him up there. He's doing pretty well in that Barra XR6, but obviously Glenn's pulling away from him on this lead run.
Yeah, blown third in the box of that XR6 Turbo, holding him back. And it's really good to hear that the pros are taking a bit of a protege approach to these lower series, the Pro-Am series. So Josh copping a bit of tutelage off you and has really improved in driving. But Glenn Ormerod as well, also under the wing of Bo the Show Yates. He's a young gun driver and has been really clean and, showing that precision that we saw from Bo Yates as well, right onto that outside clip there, nailing a nice line up the straight. And I'm sure we're going to see a pretty hot chase here as well from Glenn in that little red rotary Corolla.
Yeah, we'll go on board with Glenn. We'll see what he can do. Throwing it down nice and close to Josh for the first sweeper. See what he can do for the switch here.
How's the
really
clutch work?
underpowered car, yeah. Underpowered and over grip, but it works really well for Glenn. He knows how to throw it around this track perfectly. Joshy doing a nice lead run, doing nothing wrong, but Glenn is all there doing the right things. The judges are going to tick all those boxes.
I think that underpowered and over grip comment you made really applies here because driving a rotary car hard at any time, you really got to be up them and up in the revs. So you add some sticky tyres to that and look at the wheel work that Glenn has to do. And, barely any handbrake, just constantly clutching and working the pedals to keep that rotary up on song behind, a 4-litre turbo that would much easily blow off the rear tyres.
Yeah, he's got that balance in that car set up just right.
So Glenn's going to be battling out for the top spot up against one of these two. Warwick Hill is the high qualifier leading Tim Schultz.
Yeah, I'm not biased here, but I'll be going for my mate Schultz. Drove that car last round, well set up car from Black Track Performance. But in the lead, Warwick Hill in the Performance Automotive, 3 fingers neat. 1JZ power BMW doing all the things right the judges want to see.
Yeah, it's funny, although these aren't the cars you'd originally find them in, it's really the battle of the 2.5-litre turbo straight sixes. A Nissan under the bonnet of Schultz's S13 there, and a Toyota 1JZ under the bonnet of the Beamer.
Yeah, as we flick back to the replay, Warwick doing everything right. Schultz is there, starts to actually make a little bit of gap, Warwick does on Schultz here, and by the end of the track, Schultz just can't reel him in that little bit that he needs to.
The drivers here doing incredibly well for Pro-Am series, and is the difference in road speed. Warwick Hill bridging the gap between these two series and showing that there is a bit of a difference there, and Schultz really picking up that pace well as well. But if you're thinking you'd like to give the Pro-Am a go one day, might be a good idea to come out to some of the Drift for Real nights that Hi-Tec also run, where you can drive on this same figure-8 track in your own car, or if you want to borrow one, you can always jump in one of the Hi-Tec Toyota 86s out on the wet pan for a bit of drift school as well.
If you come out to that drift school, you're going to be taught by guys like myself, Jabbit, Rob Bellino, and the list goes on and on. So get out there and give it a go, guys.
This is the battle to see who will go through to battle for first and second. Warwick Hill lucky to get the judges' approval there despite a big straighten up through the sweeper, but it just looked as if Tim Schultz was searching for that judge line, going a little bit shallow on the sweeper, a little bit wide in some places, out in the lead there as well, but he's still going to be battling off against Josh Shuttleworth for the 3rd spot on the podium, while Warwick Hill and Glenn Ormerod go head-to-head to take out the first round of the famous Insurance Pro-Am Series. Going to be a hot battle for the very first trophy in the famous Insurance Pro Am Series. Riding on board with Glenn Ormerod now, who will be chasing Warwick Hill as the top Pro Am qualifier. Also throwing his hat into the ring in the Hi-Tec Drift Allstars, so getting some serious seat time tonight. But gee, the level of driving has just been exceptional tonight, Scott, in the Pro Am Series.
These two have really impressed me all throughout the night. Glenn with his consistent runs, really hitting every single clip, pretty much every run. And Warwick with a bit more aggression and really trying to push hard for that top spot and showing why he should be there.
It's so interesting to see the driving style of Glenn, really cool and collected, while having to really work to keep that little carburetted 13B up on song, while Warwick Hill with a big power JZ under the bonnet just seems to be using that in his favour and throwing down.
The balance of that car really shows here in this chase run with Glenn chasing Warwick. Warwick does nothing wrong in the lead run, don't get me wrong, but Glenn's there and really pushing it to him and showing him how he should be chasing in this famous Insurance Pro Am Series final.
Surprised me as well that there's not that much of a difference in speed between the two cars despite the power difference. So with the position switched, will this throw Warwick Hill a bit of a curveball?
We'll see how we go. Glenn's car is really quick, and like I said before, he's putting down consistent runs every single run. Glenn's starting to put a little bit of a gap on Warwick. Drops a tiny wheel drop there. Judges won't point score down that too much.
Wow, how wide did he hang there, Glenn, in that lead? You really see Bo Yates' influence on him as a driver. He's really thinking about what the judges want to see here, and with that gap opened up, we'll wait for the judges, but I'm tipping it in the way of Glenn. Bit of a spin there across the finish line, but that won't affect his final score as it was after the judge zone.
Glenn right out to that zone where the judges really want to see you. Through the quick switchback, through the S's, out really, really wide to the edge of the track, pushing hard, and just pulls away in a little bit of a gap now on Warwick. That's right, the win goes to Glenn. Obviously that little bit of a gap on Warwick and really hitting those clips that the judges want to see is a difference in that battle.
Glenn driving very well, and as a result taking a points lead onto the first ladder of the famous Insurance Pro Am class. Warwick Hill down 9 points behind him. Josh Shuttleworth getting the third spot as Tim Schultz had to pull out with mechanical issues, and there sits our ladder for the very first Pro Am. So Pro Am run and done into the top 8 of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars, and we're about to see a battle with a familiar face from the Pro Am Series. There's Warwick Hill again, probably steaming a little bit about just missing out on the top spot in Pro Am, but now he gets to mess it up with the big boys up against Mitch Jeffrey.
Yeah, it's pretty much been there for every battle we've spoken about. He just won't get off his track, mate. Jeffrey's a season contender last year, really consistent in his chase runs, but Warwick seems to be pulling away a bit of a gap here, so I don't know what's going on with Jeffrey's cards. Bit uncharacteristic mistake from him.
Pretty fast, both of these cars packing a JZ Toyota power plant under the bonnet, and Warwick just seemed to have the speed there out in the lead. Nice and tight through this middle section, but it's on the bottom straight where Warwick really rocketed away.
That's where you can really make a difference in the battles, is if you can pull a gap on that chase car up that straight, then you're going to get guaranteed a couple of advantage points.
It's hard to recover from that because both drivers will be practically full throttle as they come out onto the straight, and full throttle again as they throw down with Mitch Jeffrey now in the lead.
Warwick doing everything right here in the chase on that first corner. Let's see what he can do through the switch. Good switch by both drivers.
I could see tyre hanging off the edge of the track surface there. That was nice and wide from Mitch Jeffrey, and it's almost as if this chase and lead run has just been reversed. Both drivers seeming to have that advantage out in the lead.
Yeah, from my point of view, I couldn't split him. It'd be interesting to see what the judges have to say about that one. Warwick doing everything right in that chase. Mitch pulls away in that gap, and there you go. One more run.
So this is actually a new format brought in 2017. Pinched from, I believe, an Irish Drift Series, and rather than going one more time like we saw last year where both drivers get a lead and a chase run each again, we're now going to one more run. So what that means is the top qualifier gets to choose whether they want to lead or chase, and Warwick Hill here as the higher qualifier chose to chase Mitch Jeffrey despite having the advantage in the lead before.
And that could go against him here, as you can see, making a few mistakes in the chase run. I really like this change that we've made for the series this year. You know, it brings qualifying into the mix. Before, it hasn't really mattered in the past. You know, you did a good qualifying battle. Didn't really matter where you ended up. It was all coming down to the battles. But you know, now if you qualify in that top position and it comes down to a battle like now, you get to have that position where you lead or chase.
Yeah, so say you qualified first, you know, yeah, you might get a bye run through the top battles where you probably would have won anyway, but now the whole way through the battles of the night, if it's close and they can't divide you, you get the preference. And that, yeah, it really does put emphasis on the qualifying procedure. Into the next battle now, Brad Toohey leading your teammate, James Abbott.
Go Jabs.
What a noise coming from that twin supercharged V8 under the bonnet of Brad Toohey's car, being chased down by the big turbo JZ of James Abbott. I mean, both these cars probably making similar power levels, but man, do they deliver it differently. And what a smoke show Brad Toohey's putting on in the lead.
Brad just leaves Jabs behind here a bit and just takes off from him. Obviously, Jabba having a few problems with the legs in his car tonight. There you go, advantage Brad Toohey in that lead run. Jab's got to do a lot in this in his lead to make a mistake, push a mistake from Brad and see what happens.
You're right before that bottom straight is just so critical on the speed you're going to carry through the end of the course, and that outside clipping zone there is where a lot of battles are decided. So seeing Brad Toohey make the most of that outside zone was really impressive, and it's now down to how Jabs leads and what this chase run looks like from Toohey's driver's seat.
The big entry there from Jabba. Let's see how the rest of the battle plays out. Can Jabba pull away a gap like Brad did on him? Drops a little wheel there.
Seems to really be rocketing away up that straight as well. So these positions could be reversed a little bit.
Oh, and another drop of wheel from Jabs. I think that's going to be the difference there. 2 wheel drops. Nice entry from Jabba here. Big lock, big angle. Perfect for the S's. Brad's there, makes a small correction on the handbrake, Brad, just to try and slow him down. This is where Jabba starts to pull away a gap just like Brad did to him, but unfortunately drops the wheel there. Drops a small wheel, so that's going to be another deduction for Jabba. I think Brad could be going through on this one.
Yeah, advantage for Brad Toohey there from the judges, and just the speed he carries through the end of that sweeper there was just on a whole other level. That was so fast. But speaking about speed on the figure 8 circuit, I don't think anyone quite matches the speed and line of Bo Yates now up against Benny Meir in that V8 powered S14.
Let's see what they throw down. He listened to that 2J scream from Bo Yates. Benny in the chase.
Might have a chat to Bo, see if he can relay back to Toyota Genuine Parts. We want some more JZ motors rolling off the production line.
Yeah.
Beautiful sound. I reckon one of the best on the planet.
Yeah, it's a really good setup car. You know, the JH Racing engine does wonders for Bo out there. Benny Meir gets left alone a little bit here in the smoke, and Bo finishes off the run pretty much perfectly, as he always does.
Benny coming in hot into that top sweeper there, but too little too late. Another battle almost decided on the bottom straight, but now the positions switch and we can really see Bo Yates get the surgeon's gloves on and get clinical.
Benny throws a nice big entry there. Plenty of smoke, plenty of lock. Bo's there, not giving him an inch. Just listen to this 2J scream on the in-car as we go for a ride with Bo.
Yeah, Bo not one to get lost in the smoke screen at all. He's sticking as close as he can to Benny. Although he probably did have a pretty big advantage going into this, he's not letting anything go to chance. And on the Hitachi replay here, you can see just how intently he's watching that rear quarter of Benny Meir, working that handbrake, trying to modulate the speed, and no real surprise here. Bo Yates is going through. Final top 8 battle of the night now. Mike Rosenblatt out in the lead after sitting in the pits for a little bit with some bye runs, so he might be a little bit cold, and you see that there as Sean Gilbert dives in behind him in that SR powered KE70. Now, he's been driving pretty good tonight, really throwing down in practice and lucky to get to where he is now, but looks to have some speed that can't quite match Mick Rosenblatt down the bottom.
Yeah, Sean's been driving very hard all night, very consistent, but you can't take anyone away from Mick, you know, coming away from Queensland and straight from the get-go, throwing down crazy battles in crazy qualifying runs, and in the battles just coming out and showing him why he's up there.
So there's the judges down the bottom left, giving the advantage to Michael Rosenblatt in his lead run. We've seen from last year that he is a keen chaser. You know, on an unfamiliar track, he'll just throw into a cloud of smoke and trust that lead driver. So I think we're in for an exciting battle now as Sean Gilbert leads. Sticking it to the rear quarter panel of Sean Gilbert. He knows he's going to have to pack some speed on here if he wants to be competitive. Going that little bit wide, touching the outside edge there, coming in hot to the top corner.
Oh, Gilbert up the wall. Frothing, pushing very hard. Can't take anything away from him. Just, you know, having Rosenblatt on your door, in your ear. You know, the best thing you got to do is just push that a little bit harder, and unfortunately it didn't pull off for Sean as he wanted it tonight.
You can see Sean would have an earful of LS behind him. The dirt drop there might have marked him down, but it's the big aggressive track off at the bottom that handed it over to Mike Rosenblatt, getting the advantage. But big round of applause for Sean. He was pushing as hard as he possibly could, and I think that's going to be a name to watch for the rest of the season.
If you can get that car dialed through that middle S, he's definitely going to be one to watch out for.
Big hit there means Mike Rosenblatt is through to the top 4. He'll be facing off against Brad Toohey, and then Bo Yates up against Mitch Jeffrey. Going to be some tight battles here and some real pace on the figure 8 circuit. After the break, we're going to see our top 4 battles for the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars and our first podium of 2017. Straight back into it for the top 4 battles of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars. Been some real tight battling tonight on Sydney Motorsport Park's figure 8 circuit, and this is the first of our top 4 battles. Mitch Jeffrey will be chasing Bo the Show Yates in that JZ powered 8.6. Both of these cars with JZs under the bonnet, in fact. Everyone's
really stepped it up tonight, and I've loved watching every battle. Let's see what these boys can throw down and do in the top 4.
It's crazy for a car with so much power. You can see the throttle control of Bo Yates by how it'll just instantly bushfire when he's on it, but he's really controlling that rear wheel speed through some of the tighter sections of this track, and it equates to road speed. And watch him pull away from Mitch.
Yeah, Jeffries gets left behind there a little bit in Bo's lead run. Hopefully in the chase we can get him to get back up there. Does everything right. Bo out there doing his normal lead run. Can't take anything away from Jeffries. He's there through the S's. As we come down to one of the most important points of the track, like I said, Bo's right out to the edge of that racetrack and starts to pull away a little bit of gap on Jeffries, which is going to give the advantage to Bo Yates.
So judges confirming down the bottom left there. That means Bo has a slight advantage here, but as the battles get switched, it could be a mistake from either one that gets them through. Speaking with Jeffrey down in the pits before, he's had a few issues with grip in this car and been fiddling around with that rear end setup for over a year now, and they still seem to be plaguing him as Bo is just all over his door.
We'll see if Jeffries can push Bo to make a mistake or try to pull away a little bit of a gap like Bo did to him in his lead run. Jeffries doing everything right in the lead run, but Bo's there.
It's fun watching two drivers who are so clinical next to each other because, I mean, neither of these guys really made a mistake, and that's where it comes just back down to road speed. And Bo's car just seems to have that additional grip in the rear, a little bit of extra power, and those two things combine to let him be all over Mitch whenever he wants to, but also when he's out in the lead, pulling on a big gap, and it's for that reason that Bo is going to be battling it out for the top spot.
Yeah, I think Bo was just a little bit closer around that first corner on the chase, and then like you said, that gap wasn't as big.
This is sure to be a tight battle. Our number 2 and number 3 qualifier, Mike Rosenblatt, leading Brad Toohey here in the battle of the V8 powered Japanese cars.
Brad pushing really hard and actually gives Rosenblatt, a nice little love tap there. Unfortunately, that's giving him a little bit of a gap now, and Rosenblatt's starting to pull away.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty heavy hit actually, but Mike doing pretty well to reel that back in there and make sure it didn't push him into a spin. Brad coming in hot across the finish line there, and from the quality of that chase, the early part of it seemed to go to Brad, but after the contact...
That wasn't that hard, Dave, mate. Collins is a love tap. As you saw earlier, Dan Mackey explaining the rules. We're pushing these drivers to have a little bit of a tap and really push really aggressive. As long as they don't push that lead cut off their line, just like Brad did then, pretty much perfect.
And it's all about what the judges say at the end of the day, and here they've seen no advantage, so the positions will be switched, and it will be pretty much an equal battle from there out, with Mike Rosenblatt now chasing Brad Toohey. What a noise they make. And Rosenblatt right there with Brad Toohey ducking the nose into the smoke screen there as they both head wide. Not quite as wide as we would have seen, but straight up onto that front straight and into the top corner.
Oh, and a mistake from Rosenblatt. That could be the difference here. We'll see this in the replay what actually goes down.
Very touchy replay here. Rosenblatt's right behind Toohey on that first entry there, and pretty good through the middle section as well.
Yeah, they're pretty even up to about now. Toohey starts to pull away. A small gap, not much. Rosenblatt's there, get lost a little bit in the smoke. Rosenblatt runs a little bit wide in that ripple, which puts him offline and sends him into a little straighten up.
And that's one more run from the judges. So Mike Rosenblatt, as the higher qualifier, has chosen to chase Brad Toohey, and he's coming in hot into that top corner. Big smoke screen, but Rosenblatt not stumbling back there in the smoke screen, ready to throw down and chasing Brad Toohey hard.
Toohey's absolutely destroying those Achilles tyres, the smoke coming off the back. Look how wide he's running there. It's going to be an interesting one to call. Let's watch his replay.
It's a great camera position here because you can see that red flash is actually the brake light of Mike Rosenblatt. So watch throughout this run the points at which he is on the brake and the advantage coming through from the judges. And for me, I think that was really at the end of the run there where Mike was, left foot braking and trying to pull up the car behind Brad Toohey as the slower car. But how do you see it, Scott?
That's the beauty of one more run. You've only got that one chance to get through to the next round, and Rosenblatt does just that.
And now he's got the opportunity to battle it out for first against Bo Yates, while Brad Toohey will be facing off against Mitch Jeffrey in the battle for third. Let's get into it. Battle for third now, and that last step on the podium. Who's going to be spraying champagne tonight? Will it be Mitch Jeffrey or Brad Toohey, who will now be leading this first battle?
Brad's going to be fired up after that last one more run.
Seems to be coming in with a bit of speed there, but Mitch Jeffrey is right there with him in the chase.
Brad is absolutely cooking those Achilles tyres, leaving Jeffries behind. Can Jeffries get back up on Brad's door?
Now that's pretty wild. It's not uncommon for a drift car to pump the cabin full of smoke, but when your car is pumped full of someone else's smoke, it can get pretty difficult to see.
Wow, what a lead run from Brad. Jeffries was trying, but really didn't match anything that Brad did in that run.
Super speed there from Brad. Really, really quick up onto that front straight there. Nice aggressive angle, and there's not much Jeffrey could do to keep up with him, so Brad Toohey getting the advantage, and the positions will now be switched.
Picking gears, Brad was there.
I think I saw fourth on the dash, and then he grabbed another one. Wow.
Oh, all over his door. Brad is really pushing, putting his foot down, saying, I'm here for this championship. It's not getting away from me this year.
Look at the calmness on his face as well. He's completely in control here. Brad not feeling that pressure in that chase, knowing he just has to do what he's got to do up against Mitch Jeffrey.
And finishes it off nice and tight on Jeffrey's door.
Yeah,
well done from both boys.
So both of those runs there from Brad Toohey really just seems to be nailing that proximity, coming through that top sweeper there right on the door of Mitch Jeffrey, and Brad Toohey getting the win there, and I really do think it's because of that, how aggressive he is into that top corner. So with third place decided, it's now time to see the headline battle of the first round, 2017's Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars. Bo Yates, the reigning champion, going up against the dark horse from Queensland, Mick Rosenblatt, who put on some killer runs last year and has decided, you know what, I'm going to come and take this championship out from the beginning, and let's see how he goes in this final battle.
He's got such a gorgeous beard too.
Oh.
Throwing down against Bo Yates, not giving him an inch. Exactly what you want to see, pushing hard, aggression. Can he keep it going for the rest of the track? These two drivers really deserve to be here tonight.
I remember asking Mick the question last year, you know, how do you go on a track that you're not familiar with, throwing in that hard? He goes, if they're a good driver, I just follow them. And that seems to be exactly what he's doing here tonight behind Bo Yates, who has one of the better lines through the figure eight circuit.
To do a killer chase, mate, you always need a killer lead.
100%. And Bo is giving that to him, but Mick right there with him in that chase run. I don't know if the judges will separate these two, and I'm personally hoping for a no advantage, so it all comes down to this final run. You can tell he's nervous about the speed that Mick has had tonight, and he's really trying to chase him down there through the bottom section.
As we come to the S's, Bo pushing hard, Rosenblatt doing everything he needs to do in the front. Starting to pull away a gap from Bo. Like an uncharacteristic mistake from Bo there.
Yeah, it looks to be a little bit shallow through the sweeper there. Not sure quite what's going on, as he had the speed coming up the front straight. He was coming in trying to get into him.
He definitely didn't have the legs that Rosenblatt did up that main straight.
This will be the final battle of the night for the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars. Mick Rosenblatt laying down an incredible lead run, and Bo Yates just coming up that little bit short in the top section. And there's the judges' confirmation. Michael Rosenblatt is the winner of round one. What a drive.
Mate, I had a great night. It was everything went perfectly. Car was running amazingly. Pit crew were on song all night. Car felt great. So some days you just can't do anything wrong.
Listen, it's always good to have the guys travel. Like, he's come a long way from Queensland, so it's good to see the Newlon 32 out here this weekend. But obviously for me and my campaign, Toyota Genuine Parts and Achilles Radials, I think the car was pretty good tonight. I just lost my way in the final, and congratulations to Brad again on a solid third place.
Mick Rosenblatt coming in hot to the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars, and with him now in the top position for the series, I'm sure Bo Yates, Brad Toohey and the whole rest of the ladder will have sights set on him. So Mick lavishing the fact that he's got a target on his back and ready to battle for the rest of the season. Next round on the calendar, June 24th, we'll be back at the figure eight for round two of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars. Don't forget, night before as well, we've got a Drift for Real night where you can get out there and practice and see exactly the circuit these guys have been driving on. What a competition tonight, Scott.
Wow, all the drivers really stepped up tonight. So entertaining to watch. Killer battles. Everyone driving really aggressive, and can't see what round two brings. We're going to have a few changes in the mix for round two for the drivers, so make sure you keep your eye out, get down to the track, or catch out that live stream.
I'm hoping with an interstater on top of the ladder, we're going to see Mick Rosenblatt coming back down here for round two. You'll be there as well, so thank you for joining me, Scott Shembry, and we'll see you next time.
Coming up after the break, we jump across to the Gardner Grand Prix circuit here at Sydney Motorsport Park for round two of the Swan Super Series.